Hello and welcome to the CrossFit Harrow podcast. We have got episode number 66 and today Orla joins us. Thank you for joining us, Orla. First question always goes out is, what made you join CrossFit Harrow? Why CrossFit Harrow?
Well, my friend told me about CrossFit to begin with because I wanted to get more involved with weights and lifting. I'd been to the gym with her before and I'd probably been a member for more than a year and probably been no more than 5 times. And I only ever went on the treadmill, really. I didn't have the confidence to do anything other than that. So she suggested CrossFit because she said they do classes that are a mix of cardio and get you using weights. And it's something I wanted to do. I used to go to the gym with her and she would go to the weight section and I was just way too scared to go near it. So she suggested it and I looked it up and I liked the idea of classes as well because I would not have the confidence to do any of it on my own at all. I just wouldn't pick up a weight and I wouldn't know what to do with it either. You
felt like it was quite an intimidating environment and going into the weight section?
Definitely. I went up to see her once when we'd finished our session and even walking up there I felt really self-conscious and I wasn't even using any of the machines.
Really?
There's no way I would do it myself. I wouldn't know how to either and I'd feel really self-conscious. And I always liked classes. During the first lockdown, which is before I joined here, I did some online classes and I liked that they were guided. So I kind of knew that I needed someone to be guiding me, that I wouldn't, even when I went to the gym myself, I just didn't know what to do and I used the same machine. So because I knew these were classes as well as giving me a chance to use weights, that's really what drew me.
Wow, amazing. So you said that your friend had introduced you to CrossFit. Had it been, was that the first time that you'd ever heard of that, like combining kind of that style of training?
Yeah, I didn't know much at all about fitness. I think during the first lockdown, doing some online classes was the first time I'd ever done any kind of fitness classes at all. So I had no knowledge whatsoever. Okay,
and then so in terms of like growing up through sport, what did that look like for you? Were you much of a sporty person? Or was it just like, obviously that being your first exposure, that's really when you got into fitness?
I'd say sports when I was a kid. I used to do a lot of things in primary school. And then when I went to high school, I just kind of stopped. I did the odd thing, but never too seriously. Like I can remember doing tennis for about a year, but I went more for fun, not to learn how to play it properly. And then when I did my GCSEs, I just stopped everything. And after that, I never picked anything up again. So sports wise, not really. When I went to high school, I just stopped mostly. And then I never picked it up again and I never did any kind of fitness classes. And when I went to the gym, I was maybe 16, 17. And I went a handful of times. I had membership for at least a year. I only went a handful of times, really. And
I think I'm right in saying that you could possibly be one of the youngest here, 21?
I think so, yeah.
Possibly, yeah, quite possibly. How was that for you? How is that? Because obviously your transition from starting at 16 is still quite a short amount of time from now, like 5 years. And it's only really been, the last 12 to 18 months where it's been kind of more serious in your eyes?
Yeah, I definitely think I only properly started getting into fitness in the last year or so. When I went to the gym back then, it's because I thought I needed to lose weight and I thought I never took it seriously. I never enjoyed it. I never went for those kind of reasons. And so I never considered doing classes or anything like that. When I say I went on the treadmill, I literally would spend half an hour on the treadmill and I would do it just until I'd hit that half an hour or I'd...
Oh, really? Like
or I'd
30
burn
minutes
so many
time.
calories, or I'd hit like however many calories and then I'd go. But I had no knowledge at the time of anything to do with that. And I didn't enjoy it until I took an online class in the first lockdown. And then I started to actually enjoy it and I suppose actually work out because I would walk on a treadmill because I was way too self-conscious as well. Doing that is not fun. So I think it's only really recently that I've actually started to enjoy it and do it for the enjoyment and properly work out, really.
Yeah. That's quite a big thing, to go to the gym just purely for the kind of sake of hitting a calorie number or time. when actually over that period, you know, learning that actually there's a very different motive to go to the gym. Yeah. What was the driving force behind you getting into fitness and you know, really, because I remember I think we sat down quite a while, about a year ago, just over a year ago. Yeah. There was a reason as to why. So what was, if you want to share the motive of why fitness became important to you?
I decided I wanted to join the army, and I needed to be fit to do that, which I really wasn't at the time. And I think it was about the start of my second year of uni that I went to a careers fair, and I thought I would like to apply and go for assessment days and try the army.
Yeah.
But obviously I would be nowhere near fit enough. So then I decided that I actually had to, and it took me quite a few months when I started to apply.
To make that decision?
I applied, and then it took me, I think, 3 or 4 months before I actually got into fitness. I think I put it off, and I didn't know where to start. And when I say fitness, I was doing online classes that I don't think pushed me near enough as actually doing it here in person.
Yeah, I suppose it's probably wasn't, it was a hard time for you to start, really, wasn't it? Because your starting point was when everything just kind of locked down. I
think so. But when I applied was just before COVID as well, and I think I just felt quite lost with where to go. I really had no knowledge of fitness or nutrition or anything like that before then. But then when I wanted to start getting fit, once I started, I actually really enjoyed it. And I think that's what motivated me to really get in.
To do that. What is it in the army that you're pursuing? What? Because you're not at that stage. Have you applied, or where is it now?
I've applied, and I'll have an assessment in a few months. I'm still deciding, but I think it would be. I'm thinking of joining medical or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite a big position. Not most people go to the army, I would assume, to kind of be in the, let's say, battlefield, and so.
Yeah.
Battlefield as such. So why medical?
It's just, I think, what I'm more drawn to. I'd still be quite involved in that. I would like something that is quite involved, and gives me the chance to travel a bit. And also, it is something that also would still require me to be very fit.
Are you studying medicine, or had you studied medicine?
No. It would be. They would train you on
okay, so you'd be starting from scratch.
Yeah, it is just almost like a paramedic or like a first aid. It's
okay.
Not as intense.
And what did you study at uni?
History.
So a massive change.
Yeah, I guess I'm still deciding on what I want to go into, but yeah, I guess it is quite a difference from what I've studied.
Yeah. What's uni like? What was uni life like for you? Were you away from home?
No, I've never moved out because I can travel into uni, and I live so close. I was going to move out, but my accommodation, my house was nearer than my accommodation, so right. I just stayed at home, and I enjoyed it. But I think my whole third year has been online, and it's something I missed out on. I think I only started getting into uni in my second year.
Okay.
So I only had a few months before we went online.
So you still uni online now, or have you completely finished?
Yeah, I've just finished, okay. Just graduated now, but my entire third year was online.
And how was that?
I think quite tough at times. I mean, there's some times where you don't mind it, but then I think I miss the social side because you just don't get the interaction. Normally I'd go to class and then go to lunch afterwards with my friends, and it was harder to see them. I was at home, so I still had my family around, but there was sometimes you're just not leaving the house much, and you don't get I've never met my professors that I had this year either at all. So I think it was challenging at times. I've never met most of my classmates.
Wow. Do you think that's been detrimental to your kind of uni journey, or your success at uni?
I think so, because I think I was very shy and reserved in my first year. I really did not interact much. I didn't get involved at all. And then I was starting to do that in second year. I was getting involved. I was meeting people a lot more. Before I would kind of go to uni and come home as soon as my class was over, but I was staying there the whole day in my second year and just way more involved. And I think that meant my confidence was going up a lot because I was very, very shy in first year. So then I feel like I would have continued to get more confident, get more involved. There was a lot of clubs and societies that I was going to join in third year, and I did join some, but they were all online. So it meant going to more Zoom events, whereas I think I would have been a lot more confident in person. So I think in terms of what I missed out was just continuing to grow in confidence on third year, which is what I think would have happened if I was in person.
Do you feel that being at home learning, because you're obviously still having to learn at the same time as like having to put in essays and whatnot, that you're like it just took its toll? Did it ever was there ever a point that you were like, I've had enough, I'm not sure about this anymore?
I think it was much harder to be motivated.
Okay.
And this is something my other friends all said as well. The motivation to just do your readings like normal and to study like normal just wasn't really there. There's a lot of the time where I think I almost felt lazier because I just didn't feel like doing stuff, whereas I would
kind of lost a sense of purpose, like for getting up, like going the traveling part to uni.
I think so. And one thing I'm terrible with is my sleep schedule. Okay. So without going into uni, it would just be all over the
very
place.
Late mid-morning wake ups.
Very, very late. I'd wake up, some days I'd wake up just a few minutes before my class was about to begin. And obviously I would not be doing that if I was in uni. And it just went all over the place.
Your professor asking you to turn on your camera and you're like, I can't, there's a signal problem.
Yeah. Some of my camera would be off the whole time because I was still in my pajamas. I would never, and at the beginning of the year I would never do that, but it just got further and further, and as more went on, the less I would do my readings. For some classes, when I knew the professor didn't pick on people, I'd just be like, I'm not. There was ones where they would, so I'd have to do it, but then there was other ones where, and it wasn't just me, my friends were the same, and then I think we all just kind of feed off each other. When one of us isn't doing it, the rest of us are like, well, there's no point now. And in person you just couldn't do that because they'll make eye contact with you, and you need to do it, but it just gets to the point where you're like on Zoom, they don't know, and then
what made you choose history at uni?
I've always just loved history, to be honest. I think it was an easy choice for me. That's the only subject I've ever really enjoyed, so I wanted to continue doing. What
did you have to do? Have you done your dissertation? Is that what did you do that on?
I did it on the Civil War, the American Civil War.
Okay, I'm just going to openly say I absolutely know nothing about. So whatever you tell me, I'll just nod and smile. There's people watching this now going, he hasn't got a fucking clue, and I don't. So American Civil War.
Yeah, to be fair, my friends didn't either, but my outside of uni. But it was about Lincoln.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think now how he approached the war, basically. Yeah.
Wow. What would you say has been like your favourite learning experience within history? Like, what have you enjoyed learning most about?
What is in content, like subjects? American history. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Like Civil War. In my third year, all my modules were just American history.
Is that something that you chose, or was that?
Yeah. We from the very beginning we could choose all our modules.
Okay.
And I started out doing like British history, and by third year, just all American history. I really enjoy it.
Is there a big difference between? Well, I mean, it's an easy answer in some respect, but between British and American history, or are there some similarities?
I think it's quite different because
cultures.
And if you do British history, you're learning a lot about almost the monarchs and what happens. That's kind of what they lean towards teaching you. But America is going to be very different from that. It's very. I think
interesting.
It is interesting. I think it's quite different.
You mentioned before about sleep. You have a terrible sleep pattern.
Yeah.
Has that always been that way?
I think I've always been a bad sleeper. It takes me a long time to get to sleep. I have to be really tired before I go to bed because I know I'll be lying there for hours otherwise. And I think without something to get up for, I find it way harder because to get to sleep, I think if I have something every day, I'll be in a regular schedule. But I've always been like that. In school, I'll be fine, and then brings the holidays and my sleep pattern just gets so bad.
That must be, I think that might be normal, to be fair.
Yeah, but I think for a long time I struggle to get it back in. I mean, I really struggle to get it.
Do you have a sleep routine? Because I would imagine as a 21-year-old, your sleep routine or sleep pattern would be very different to like someone who's my age or even older.
I guess, yeah, I can. I live at home with my parents, and I'm not tired when they're tired, so I will naturally be up a bit later. I think. I guess everyone, yeah. I guess my friends are up. That encourages me.
Is that through like social media? Is that through email, like kind of WhatsApps, emails, and through uni work?
I'm terrible for that. My screen time on my phone is very, very high. I'm really bad for that, especially at night when I'm alone. I'm going into bed. I will go through TikTok. I will go through Instagram for hours. I do that.
How do you think that's impacted you quite a lot? TikTok and Instagram and stuff, because that would almost be like kind of always what you've known.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't really have had much time without that, because that's been around for a big part of your upbringing.
I think so. Yeah. I think I can remember getting Facebook when I was about 10. And obviously I can't remember before that. Like, so all the time I've had some kind of social media to go through. I think so. I mean, obviously, my parents obviously are not on these social medias, whereas I could probably...
Yeah, they would have never had it like that.
No, whereas I can spend so long on my phone just on these apps. I'm not even talking to people, I'm just going through these apps, which I think probably does affect me, because my friends as well say that they are trying to reduce their screen time.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but we're all subject to it. We end up like spending, some of us, hours just watching other people. For what reason, I don't know.
I don't know either.
But there's something that just grosses you in, that just like you just can't, we've all done it. There could be times where like 40 minutes have gone by, or 10 minutes have gone by, or 5 minutes, whatever it might be, but you just start capturing, you just get closed into this bubble that you just can't stop.
Yeah, that's massively what I do. Like, hours have gone by and I don't even realize it, especially I think at night. Whatever time in the morning it is, I'm on my phone. Really?
But are there people up at that time with you? You like?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes my friends do wake up at odd times during the night, and so someone is there to talk to me.
Well, it takes up quite a big part of your age group. A big part of their lives. So we'll go back into the kind of uni thing. Like at uni, nutrition for those who are at uni is probably not ideal. They're not known. Uni students are not known for their great nutrition and great lifestyle. I know obviously you said you lived at home, but has your lifestyle kind of changed quite a lot since you've kind of finishing up now at uni, or have you noticed that you're still in the same patterns?
I think I'm still in a bit of the same pattern. I've made more of an effort, I think, than when I was doing my exams. I just used that as an excuse to eat whatever I wanted, and I knew I was doing it at the time, but I was quite stressed and I had a lot to do, so I didn't bother to try and not eat crap at the time.
Did you kind of give yourself that acceptance as like being a uni student? You think, well, fuck it, I'm entitled.
100%. I've done that since I started uni, to be honest.
Yeah, really.
Especially when I'd be in first or second year, I would go and buy food in the cafes, the many cafes that are around all the time, and I'd bring stuff home. And I'd be on the train. In first year especially, I used to get the train home in rush hour every day, and I hated it so much. And I used to reward myself by saying, when I get home, I'm going to order myself some food, because I was just so fed up on the train, and I used to like use that to make myself feel better a lot. I definitely took liberties because I knew I was a uni student, almost like I was allowed.
Yeah, I think that is a kind of a bit of a message across the whole of like the uni kind of experience, that because you are a uni student, it's almost like deemed as acceptable.
Yeah.
That's very fascinating. And I wonder if over the next few years that will change because of the way that the learning has happened, and like the social influences of like how important, or what I'm trying to say is how kind of fitness is now portrayed on social media, and that being the mass market of people, if that will be any different. What would you say is one of your best experiences at uni?
I think when I started second year, I had a close group of friends, and I just think we had some good classes together.
Do you find learning in that group environment is a lot better for you?
As in person as opposed...
In person, yeah?
Yeah. I massively missed learning in person. I really, really enjoyed lectures especially. That was my favourite kind of way.
Okay.
I think I hugely missed that in third year. I think it was a lot harder. It was a lot harder not to have my friends there. I liked just being around that part of London where my campus is. I just miss being in that area. Yeah. The atmosphere, I think, and
okay. We skipped the bit about nutrition and being at uni. So, was it a big thing for you to be, now that, or it probably more suggesting now that you're kind of done, how important to you now is it, right, I need to now fuel myself better because actually that might help me sleep, that might help me do X, that might help me do Y. Is that now going to be one of your objectives for the next however long?
I definitely think so, and it is for my family too. At home, like that's something my mum is saying, we're all going to start eating better now, especially I haven't got the excuses that I was using for a long time, and I want it now. I'm more conscious of it. There's nothing distracting me, and I know that it will make my sleep better. That's the one thing. When I was eating better last year, I was sleeping so much better, and I know I was in a regular sleep pattern, and I know that'll help me a lot. I don't have any excuses anymore.
Run out of them now.
Yeah.
What would be the plan B if the army doesn't work out?
I've got 2. I've applied for the police.
Okay.
And I've got a master's. I got an offer for a master's. So
your options, you've got good options.
Yeah, I purposely applied for a master's as a backup to have an option there.
And that would be a master's in history.
Yes,
yeah.
I think. I had a look, but history is just what I really enjoy. So I would consider doing that, and all my friends are doing it.
Would that mean that you specifically don't go down a certain route within history and or it's general?
No, it would just be an extra qualification. I guess I'd still go down the army or the police route. It would just be another year of study, which is what I know a lot of people are doing because they missed this year. Okay. So I guess I'd be kind of doing that as well. I think for me it's a backup option. I want to see what happens first, and if I feel ready, because I feel like I've fallen out of sync in the last few months, especially since January. I think January is when I've fallen out a lot with. I haven't been coming as regularly to exercise, and I miss it. I really do miss it. It doesn't make me feel. I felt so much better the days I've come.
Yeah, it has a knock-on effect, right?
So much so. I never would have realised that before I started coming. How much you can really miss it. I've done personal training the last 2 weeks. So even though I haven't been coming to classes between the days I've done the personal training, I've just felt so much better.
Yeah. But that's also good because you've taken, you've got a personal goal that you want to achieve, and that's something that's given you a bit of a drive towards, your fitness.
Definitely. And I want to increase my fitness, and I also want to lose weight because I've gained a lot of weight since January. Yeah. And
a lot of people have experienced that. From January.
This lockdown I found this really hard, whereas I didn't find any of the other lockdowns tough. I actually was kind of okay in them. And the first lockdown I got into exercise and I lost a lot of weight. And this one I went the opposite way.
I think it was more like the psychological effect that it happened because it was a third time, another kind of restrictive kind of time of our life. And it became much for a lot of people. It did become much for a lot of people. So with now your goal, obviously you've got the assessment coming up.
Yeah.
So now going to kind of try and put your head down with fitness. Studying's kind of backed off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, making that fitness a bit more of a priority for you.
I definitely that's what I want to be doing now is I can devote my time to fitness a bit more. I think I'm quite lucky now that I've got time off, and I'm not opposed to thinking if I need to, I'll take a lot more time off if I'm not ready. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself that I need to have a job by September, but I'm trying to think if I'm not ready, then I'll take some time off. I never did a gap year before, so I can afford to have a little bit of time off afterwards if I need to. And if I want to do a master's, I could do that because it would be however many hours a week. It would be a lot of work, but I wouldn't be on the same regular. It wouldn't be 9 to 5 every day. So I'm kind of thinking if I need to take that extra time, I take that time and work on sorting out my fitness, my nutrition, my sleep even.
Well, I think those 3 elements go hand in hand. I think as soon as you start improving one of them, another one follows.
Yeah.
And generally, I think for most people, they will focus a lot more on their fitness. And then the knock-on effect to that is that they will start to sleep better. And then eventually they may look into the nutrition part. And naturally, when you do train, you go through a stage of where you tend to eat better for a little while. It's just whether you can maintain that for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
When you don't, probably, I think I know the answers, but when you don't train, do you find it very hard to stay, let's say, on track with what you eat?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, if I come and train, I actually feel really motivated to stay on top of things and eat better. But when, especially because I'm waking up so late and I'm not training, I just don't have much motivation. I'm not doing anything.
The days that you would wake up at midday, let's say.
Yeah.
How many times in that day would you eat?
I really don't know.
Because your breakfast essentially would be really someone's lunch.
Yeah. Or later, I could eat very, very late.
So you wouldn't necessarily eat breakfast as soon as, or a late lunch, late breakfast?
I could eat whatever. If I came downstairs in the early afternoon, then I could eat in a couple of hours.
Wow.
And then I'll eat a lot, like a lot of food, because I'll be really hungry by then. And then I'll just keep picking at stuff the rest of the day.
So it would be a very, like a delayed breakfast and then quite a big like lunch / dinner in one sitting.
Yeah, and then I could end up eating again like quite late at night, because I'll be hungry again by then, because I'm obviously on a bit of a different schedule, and like my parents will be in bed and I'm hungry again, which probably does not help me going to sleep because I'm eating very late. So
obviously now, as you said, you started to do some more personal training sessions because your specific goal of wanting to lose some weight and go into the obviously getting close to the time of the assessment. Once you get through that assessment, will that dictate your future of fitness and how you approach that and what you do?
I think so. I guess there'll be more pressure once I go through the assessment. I have to keep it up.
Do you know what's in the assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
I know the fitness requirements. There's a lot mentally as well that I need to prepare for.
How are you preparing for that?
I've got maths is the big one for me, so I've got a bunch of books on that, and speed, distance, time, on planning exercises, all of that. I've got books as well that I'm reading that are discussion points to go through, and learning about the army, because just having that knowledge and keeping up with current affairs. So all of that I'm trying to do alongside it.
And this is all part of the assessment?
So
there's obviously a physical.
Yes, there's a fitness test.
Is there a written test? Is that the maths kind of stuff?
There's a written assessment. I'm trying to think now. There's online, like verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, those kind of tests as well.
That would have probably been done in person previously, right? But
this day will be in all of it in person and on a computer in there. It takes place over 2 days, I think. I'm not sure if it's a day in COVID. They've shortened it. There's all of that. There's group discussions. There's an introduction you have to give, an interview. There's I'm trying to think of everything, and then speed, distance, time. Tests.
Do you know how many people apply to those who go through?
I know the ultimate intake. I'm applying for officer, so I know the ultimate thing is about 50 to 60% into Sandhurst, but there's another assessment after this one.
Okay.
This is the first one, then there's a 3-day assessment centre. That was pre-COVID anyway. I think it's shortened during COVID.
I would imagine that there's some sort of new way of doing it.
I think it's over 2 days or something. But
and would that mean then if you you might not know the answer to this question, if you were successful, does that mean then you move in to the army accommodation, you're there full time?
Yeah. I don't know which route I'd go down, officer or soldier at the moment. Either I'd apply for both, but I could end up in either one. I think either way you'll be in some kind of living on site in some kind of barracks. So I'll be moving away, but I think that will be in for me quite a while. Just what I don't think I'm ready yet for that.
Okay, that's quite an honourable thing to say and know, and know that you're not there yet.
Yeah,
and that's good, because that gives you time to prepare yourself rather than kind of throw yourself in the deep end. Maybe see what happens and kind of figure out on the way there. With regards to CrossFit now, what's your favorite? Let's start with your. Well, in fact, let's start with your least favorite movement. What would you say because obviously fitness is quite new to you. When you kind of done for the first time, you thought, oh shit, I don't like this.
I think like a specific movement.
Specific movement, yeah.
I always found the snatch really hard.
Okay.
Because I don't feel as confident. I feel like I'm going to lose that control of that. But at the same time, I really liked the clean.
Yeah.
So I do like the movements lifting weights. I think need to gain a bit of confidence with them. When I first started here as well, I just found anything quick, any cardio really hard that I would be nervous for. But I still do it. But
your strength has gone, because I remember obviously the first couple of weeks that you started. We were the lack of confidence in regards to using weights was there. But now that has grown quite a lot. Now you feel, for me, it's easy for me to say that I've seen it, but do you feel more confident in the use of a barbell, the use of the weights?
I definitely would say that, because when I first came for the on-ramp ones, I found it really awkward trying to hold the bar, trying to do the movements. I was very disconnected with each little piece. That's a very good word, actually, to use. That I think people don't realise how much of a connection or how disconnected they are. That's very good, actually. I like that. Sorry, I cut you off there. No, it's okay.
So you realised that there was a little bit of you were disconnected.
Yeah, and I think the more I've done it, the more I feel it comes naturally to me. Now, if I pick up a bar, I don't really have to think through what I'm gonna do. It flows a little bit more. Yeah, and I think that means I enjoy it more, like the more I've done it. What's your kind of favourite style of workout when you think, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna do well at that? I like when there's a strength element, just because I really enjoy that. So if I see there's especially some deadlifts and something like that, I really, really enjoy doing. Or just any kind of thing where I can use the bar and see how far I can go. Do you prefer the short duration, kind of 10, 12 minutes, or the like 15, 20 minute plus? I prefer the short ones, because I just get out of breath quickly, so I like being able to take a little break. But I think that's just me liking the chance to take a break. Yeah. But I enjoy short. I do like short bursts, to be fair. Yeah. So what do you want what's your aim within CrossFit for the next couple of months? What do you want from CrossFit to help you, obviously, with your assessment, but just in general, what do you want it to give to you? I think it comes from me wanting to come regularly, to be fair, because when I am here and when I come regularly, I'm really happy and I really enjoy it. So I think it's just it's me that needs to start just booking classes and actually coming and being here more regularly is what I want, because I just felt so much better when I was doing that. When I first joined for a few months before the lockdown hit, I would come maybe 5 times a week, and I really, really enjoyed it, and it gave quite a nice bit of structure too. So I miss doing that. So that's what I want to come back into. Okay. We spoke obviously about the goals that you have for the army and everything else. Is there any other personal goals that you're looking to achieve over the next 6 to 12 months? I'd like to get stronger, to be stronger. That's just something in myself. I would like to be able to lift heavier, which just because I enjoy it, I really like that. I never did weights before, but I just really, really enjoy that. That's something I really like. So I would like to be stronger. I think that's my own goal. Yeah. That's I think there's something quite satisfying about holding a barbell and weekly seeing that weight element go up, and it gives you kind of you feel strong. If we like come out of fitness, and is there any personal goals that you're looking to achieve outside of fitness for you? I think my main thing right now has just been feeling I wanted to get more fit, to feel more confident in myself as well. That's kind of what I've been focused on, really, other than whatever job I go into, other than going towards that and working towards that. I think I feel like the better I get with fitness, the more confident I will get. Yeah. So any other goals I would have would link back to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, still so young. You've still got so much time ahead of you. Orla, we've run out of time for today, but thank you so much. Guys, join us back next week for another episode.